In today's video, we are going to talk about the 5 vices that God only allows in chosen souls. I'm not talking about common addictions, but those deep, intense, almost inexplicable behaviors, which only those who carry a spiritual mission understand. Let's explore why certain excesses, certain compulsions, and certain standards that seem wrong in the eyes of the world are actually spiritual doorways in which God works quietly. Are you ready to understand why you are so different and why even your flaws reveal your spiritual choice? So, keep watching and, in the meantime, tell me in the comments which habit of yours you've always found strange but never managed to give up. Oh, and of course, if this video touches you in any way, like subscribe and activate the bell, because from now on, only strong revelation comes. And tell me where you're watching from so we can connect even more. The first vice allowed by God in chosen souls is compulsive loneliness. It's that intense need to get away from people, even when you don't understand why. It is not social laziness. It is not coldness. It is forced spiritual recollection. The chosen one does not seek solitude. He needs it because when the world speaks, God is silent, and when the world is silent, God speaks. So you always go back inside. God uses this loneliness as an internal laboratory. It is there that you rebuild your energy, receive instructions, clean what does not belong to you, and understand things that no one around you would understand. Many people confuse this with isolation, but it is not. It is connection. It is training. It is a portal. The chosen ones have this vice. They always return to their own inner world, and God not only allows but encourages it. The second addiction that God allows only in chosen souls is the addiction of feeling too much. It's not common sensitivity. It's not emotional fragility, much less drama. It is an intensity that burns inside, as if each emotion had double weight. It is as if the chosen one carries a spiritual antenna permanently open, capturing vibrations, pains, intentions, and atmospheres that most people do not even perceive. This addiction manifests itself in small, everyday things. A phrase that to others means nothing, but to you it looks like an arrow. An environment that for everyone is normal, but for you it is suffocating. A lie that no one understands, but that his spirit identifies on the spot. And as much as you try to turn it off, you can't, because it's not a choice. It's a divine programming. You were created to feel beyond the surface. And feeling too much also means loving too much, caring too much, carrying the weight of others too much. Sometimes you wonder why it seems that the whole world pours its pains on you. But it's not bad luck or weakness, it's fate. God allows this emotional intensity because it shapes your spiritual character. It cleanses, expands, and purifies. It is through this exaggerated sensitivity that you learn empathy, discernment, and compassion, indispensable tools for those who have a greater mission. But feeling too much also takes a toll. You wear out, you break in silence. There are nights when you look at the ceiling asking, why do I feel everything so strong? Why does this only happen to me? And the answer is simple but profound. Because God trusted you to transmute emotions that many could not bear even for a minute. While some flee from their own shadows, the chosen one faces the shadows of the world. While many anesthetize the pain, you feel it, process it, transform it, even when you think you're not doing anything. Feeling too much is a burden for the human, but it is a tool for the spirit. It is as if God has placed in you an emotional radar calibrated to detect everything that is misaligned, everything that needs to be illuminated, everything that does not belong to your vibration, and often not even to the vibration of that person you are helping. This addiction makes you seem too intense in relationships, too deep in conversations, too observant in ordinary situations. But that's the mark of the chosen ones. You don't know how to exist halfway. You feel what others hide, you notice what others ignore, and you carry what others let go. And as much as it hurts sometimes, it is precisely this ability that makes you able to heal, guide, and awaken those who cross your path. You feel too much because you see too much. You see too much because you understand too much, and you understand too much because you were chosen for it. The third vice allowed by God in chosen souls is the addiction to helping those who would not do the same for you. It's almost automatic. You see someone suffering, someone lost, someone carrying a weight that is not even yours, and your spirit moves before you even think about it. The chosen one cannot ignore the pain of others. He feels as if it were his own. He approaches, tries to relieve, tries to guide, tries to heal, even knowing that in the end that person may not even thank you, maybe even hurt you. This is exactly where many chosen ones do not understand their own hearts. Do you wonder why you keep helping people who have already hurt you? Why do you offer support to people who disappear when you are the one who needs it? Why does your spirit always want to reach out, even when your body is tired? The answer lies not in your ego, but in your mission. You were created to be a bridge, not a wall, and those who are bridges will always be crossed by many who will never look back. The chosen one has the addiction of seeing potential where no one else sees anything, of believing in the best in people, even when they show the worst, of giving chances that no one else would give, of holding the hearts of others while yours is left with no one to hold. This is not naivety, it is purpose. God allows this excess because it molds your spirit into humility, patience, and compassion. And these three things only rare souls can carry. Helping too much is a form of unconditional love that bothers many people. People are frightened because they do not understand that their gesture is not interest, nor lack, nor weakness. It is spiritual nature. You help because you were made for it. You heal because that's what your spirit knows how to do. You give because you know that those who receive today may not understand your value until years from now. Some will never understand, and that's okay. You don't do it for the applause. You do it because your essence doesn't know how to deny help to those who suffer. And there is something even deeper. Many times God sends you to exactly those specific people. People who were on the verge of giving up. People who needed to hear something that only you had. People who He knew would hear no one but you. And that's why He even uses His impulses. That sudden desire to send a message, to offer help, to be close, is not a human impulse. It is divine intuition. But this addiction also hurts, because while you give yourself, many take advantage of it. While you surrender, many just receive. The chosen one lives in this paradox. He saves people who would let him drown. He lifts people who would let him fall. He heals people who are sometimes the causes of his wounds. And yet, you go on, because your soul knows. Those who have light do not choose when to shine, they only shine. This addiction is both His greatest strength and one of His greatest pains. But God allows it, because He knows that in the end, every gesture of yours comes back multiplied, not by the hands of those you helped, but by the hands of God Himself. The fourth vice that God permits only in chosen souls is the uncontrollable vice of seeking the truth, whatever the cost. While many people are satisfied with ready-made answers, comfortable illusions, and shallow explanations, the chosen one feels a spiritual discomfort that does not let him settle down. He needs to understand. He needs to go beyond. He needs to dive where others are afraid to look. It is as if your spirit has been created with a natural detector of falsehood, incoherence, and manipulation. And this goes for everything: relationships, religion, spirituality, other people's intentions, and even life itself. Every time something doesn't make sense, your heart tightens. Every time something seems hidden, your soul restless. You just don't accept living on the surface because you know that's where people get lost. and you were made to find yourself. This addiction makes you question what everyone accepts without thinking, makes you see what no one dares to comment, makes you distrust what the whole world idolizes. And as much as it isolates you, God allows it, because this search is an essential part of your mission. To guide others, you need to see what they don't see. To light paths, you need to see beyond the fog. To awaken consciousnesses, you must first break with your own illusions. The truth hurts, but for the chosen one, the lie hurts much more. That's why you could never swallow certain behaviors, certain speeches, certain environments. Even when everyone seemed comfortable there, you felt the weight, the distortion, the imbalance. And the more he tried to pretend that everything was fine, the more his soul screamed inside, because God does not allow a chosen one to live with his eyes closed. It wakes you up even when you don't want to wake up. This addiction also makes you go through phases of deep questioning. Days when you seem to deconstruct everything you believed in. Nights when you feel like you've lost ground because you realize that much of what you were taught was never anything divine. But even in this pain, there is purpose. Truth destroys before liberating, breaking before rebuilding, burning before illuminating. Many people think that the chosen one is rebellious, difficult, too questioning. But you know that it is not rebellion. It is discernment. It's your soul trying to remember who you really are behind everything the world has tried to convince you to be. The chosen one does not seek the truth out of curiosity, but for spiritual survival. You need to know, you need to understand, you need to see the naked, raw, deep reality, because that's the only way you can follow your mission without being deceived, manipulated, or diverted from the path. And God allows this addiction because He knows the truth hurts, but it's the only thing that keeps you free. The fifth vice that God permits only in chosen souls is the vice of extreme self-demand. It's that silent impulse that makes you demand yourself beyond what is necessary, beyond what is expected, beyond what anyone would ever demand of you. And it doesn't matter how much you do, how much you give, how much you evolve. It always seems like it could have been more, it could have been better, it could have been different. This vice is not born of pride, much less of vanity. It is born of the Spirit. The chosen one feels an inner calling that never lets him settle. There is an invisible voice that whispers, you can go one step higher, you can go deeper, you can do better. And even when you try to relax, that voice keeps echoing, not out of malice, but out of mission. It's as if your soul knows that you carry a purpose too big to live by halves. That's why, when you make a mistake, you charge yourself. When you fail, you blame yourself. When it disappoints, you feel like you've failed the whole sky, and no one understands that. People around you try to reassure you, tell you that everything is fine, that you already do more than enough, but the chosen one doesn't work that way. You don't just want to fulfill a task, you want to honor a spiritual promise that you often don't even remember making. The self-demand of the chosen one is different because it is born from the deep perception of the impact you have on the world. You know that your presence changes environments, your energy influences those who are close, your words lift or knock down, your gestures touch invisible parts of the other, and that's why, when you feel like you're not being your best version, the emotional weight is enormous. This addiction also manifests itself in their exaggerated sense of responsibility. You make commitments that weren't yours. You carry problems you shouldn't. You sacrifice yourself to keep everything and everyone standing. And when something goes wrong, even if it wasn't your fault, the first thought is, where did I fail? The truth is, you didn't fail. You just feel more, notice more, and care more than any ordinary person could. God allows this self-demand because it keeps you moving, prevents you from getting lost in comfort, keeps you away from stagnation. But He also knows that it can hurt you. The chosen one lives in this delicate balance between heaven and earth, demanding of himself as a spirit, but carrying a body that sometimes does not accompany. And this creates deep internal conflicts, tiredness, exhaustion, doubts, silent crises. But even in these moments of fall, God watches, not expecting perfection, but intention. Because in the end, what differentiates the chosen one is not that he gets it right all the time, but that he tries all the time, even tired, even hurt, even insecure. Self-demand is the sign that your soul knows where it needs to go, even if you don't know how yet. God allows this vice because he knows the chosen soul is never satisfied with the minimum. It always seeks the most of itself. There is a silent, almost invisible addiction that accompanies every chosen one from an early age, the addiction to getting up. No matter how many times life knocks you down, how many doors close, how many people betray you, or how many cycles end, you always get up, sometimes slowly, other times on impulse, but you always come back. And the most impressive thing is that even you can't explain how you can do it. People around you think it's strength, they think it's resilience, they think it's stubbornness, but you know it's nothing like that. It's something bigger, something that pushes you when you don't have the strength to walk, something that rekindles you when you were already erased inside. It is as if an invisible hand lifted you up by the soul and said, "It's not over yet, you still have things to do." And that's the point. You don't stand up out of pride or to prove anything to anyone. You rise up because your mission does not allow you to remain fallen. The chosen one has this divine, almost automatic impulse to rebuild himself. When everything is destroyed, you start over. When everything hurts, you reorganize your own pain. When no one believes you, you stand up to show, not to the world, but to your very essence, that you are still here. And the most curious thing is that many times you stand up in silence, without announcing, without asking for applause, without making noise. People only realize it when they look at you and say, "Wow, are you okay?" And you answer with that tired smile, "Yes, I am," when in fact you're still picking up the pieces inside, but you're already on your feet. God watches this closely because he knows that this addiction is one of the deepest marks of chosen souls. They don't give up easily, even when they're on edge, even when they've been hurt by the ones they loved most, even when they seem to have nothing left. And that's because from the beginning, your soul was trained to survive falls that would knock down any other. The chosen one faces storms that no one sees. He lives internal wars that no one imagines. He carries wounds that few people have noticed, and yet he comes back, always comes back. This impulse is not human, it is spiritual. It's God reminding you, even at the worst of times, that your story doesn't end where the world thinks it should end. It is as if he puts a flame inside you that does not go out no matter what. A flame that makes you try again, trust again, love again, believe again. And as painful as it is to carry that strength, it is also what distinguishes you. Many people fall and lose faith. Many people fall and lose their identity. The chosen one falls and gains clarity. He falls and understands things. He falls and comes back stronger. Getting up becomes almost an addiction because every time you are reborn, you come back different, wiser, more aligned, more aware of your purpose. And God allows this because he knows each fall shapes the chosen one for the next stage of the mission. The last addiction allowed only in chosen souls is perhaps the most mysterious and the most sacred. The addiction to listening to God, even when everything around you tells them to give up, to stop, to abandon the path. You can even try to ignore it. You can try to follow another path. You can try to close your heart, cover your spiritual ears, pretend that you don't feel anything anymore. But it's no use. God always finds a way to speak to you. Sometimes he speaks in the silence of the early morning, when your soul is too tired to fight, but sensitive enough to listen. Other times, it speaks through a song, a dream, an intuition that suddenly arises, a sentence that you read unintentionally. And there are times when he speaks even in pain. That pain that you don't understand at the time, but that pushes you back to the right path. This addiction is not something you control. It is something that comes from within, as if your soul has been finely tuned to the divine since before your birth. That's why you feel when something is wrong, even if everyone says it's okay. That's why you notice when a path isn't yours, even if it seems to be the safest. That's why you feel when God wants you to stay, and you feel when He wants you to go. The chosen one cannot live deaf to the spiritual. The connection is inevitable. It's like a constant reminder, soft or strong, depending on the moment, saying, "I'm here. Don't stop now." And no matter how tired you are, no matter how hurt you feel, no matter how confused the path seems, that voice keeps echoing inside you. Often, it's the only thing that keeps you standing when your human strength is gone. And it is at this point that God reveals Himself the most. He knows exactly when you are at the limit, and it is there that He calls you most clearly. This addiction also explains why you've never been able to fully move away from spirituality, even when you tried. Why do you return to God even after phases of revolt? Why does your faith never die? It just transforms. It is because God has marked you not with a visible seal, but with a spiritual sensibility that cannot be uprooted. And when you think you can't handle it anymore, when your humanity screams for rest, when your soul says it's exhausted, it's at that very moment that something inside you rekindles. A strength that doesn't come from you, an impulse that comes from above, a peace that appears out of nowhere, a courage that doesn't make sense, and you realize, I'm not done yet, I still have a mission here. It is the sacred vice of the chosen ones. They listen to God even when they don't want to. They follow even when they don't understand. They obey even when it hurts. They continue even when everything comes crashing down. And in the end, that's what keeps the chosen one on the path. It is not human strength. It is not perfection. It is not certainty. It is this spiritual connection that God has planted within you. A channel that never closes. A connection that never disconnects. And that's why even in your weakest moment, you are still strong, because your strength doesn't come only from you. It comes from the one who chose you.